Everyone thinks modern schooling is a recent invention. They are wrong. Before the Greeks, before the Egyptians built their grand pyramids, there was Mesopotamia. And in its bustling cities, long before pencils and paper, children were learning to read and write in the world's very first classrooms. Imagine a classroom not with desks and blackboards, but with mud bricks, a single lamp, and the murmur of dozens of young voices, all practicing the same intricate strokes. This was the Adaba, the tablet house, a place of intense learning, discipline, and the foundation of an entire civilization. For a Mesopotamian child, often a boy from a well-to-do family, a day at the Adaba began early. The sun wouldn't even be fully up when they'd be walking through dusty streets, perhaps with a small satchel carrying their most precious tool, a stylus. Their journey might take them past bustling markets already coming alive, the smell of fresh bread mixing with the sounds of animals and merchants. But for them, the destination was serious. A demanding day of memorization and meticulous inscription awaited. The Adaba wasn't just a school, it was often attached to a temple or a scribe's private home. Inside, the light was dim, usually from small windows high up or the open doorway. The air was thick with the scent of damp clay and human effort. Their day began with the school father, the headmaster, and the big brother, an older student acting as a teaching assistant. The hierarchy was strict, and respect for elders was paramount. Disobedience could mean a different kind of lesson. The core of their learning revolved around cuneiform, a system of wedge-shaped marks pressed into soft clay. It wasn't just an alphabet. It was a complex logographic and syllabic script with hundreds of signs, each representing a word or a sound. First, they'd learn to make the basic wedge shapes, vertical, horizontal, and oblique. Imagine trying to make perfect, consistent marks with a reed stylus on a lump of clay, hour after hour. It required incredible precision and patience. Their notebooks were fresh, wet clay tablets prepared each morning. Mistakes could be smoothed over, but perfection was the goal. And the stakes were high. Their future, their family's status, even the functioning of the state depended on their accuracy. After mastering the basic strokes, they moved on to copying lists. Endless lists. Lists of gods, lists of cities, lists of professions, lists of plants. This wasn't just about writing, it was about memorizing the world around them, categorizing it. One common exercise involved copying proverbs and wise sayings. These weren't just practice, they instilled moral values and practical wisdom. Phrases like, "A scribe whose hand moves in accord with the mouth, he is indeed a scribe," echoed through the room. Lunch was a simple affair, often brought from home, perhaps some barley cakes, dried fish, or fruit. There were no elaborate cafeterias. This was a place of serious work where every moment was precious. Afternoons were often dedicated to more complex tasks. Students would copy literary texts, legal documents, or even practice writing contracts and letters. This wasn't just abstract learning, it was vocational training for a future as a scribe, priest, or administrator. Imagine the focus required. A single slip of the stylus could ruin a whole tablet. The pressure to perform well to please the school father must have been immense. Their future depended on it. Discipline was a constant. We have records of students being punished for various infractions: poor handwriting, talking out of turn, arriving late. The man in charge of the whip was a real person, not just a threat. But it wasn't all harshness. There were moments of triumph, too. The satisfaction of a perfectly inscribed tablet, the understanding of a complex text. These young scribes were unlocking the secrets of their world, preserving its knowledge for generations. They also learned mathematics, essential for managing temple resources, calculating taxes, and surveying land. Using a base 60 system, they grappled with concepts that underpinned their entire economy and infrastructure. For some, the path also included music, a vital part of temple rituals and entertainment. They might learn to play the lyre or sing hymns, adding another layer to their rigorous education. As the sun began to set, the long day at the Adaba would finally draw to a close. The children would gather their styluses, perhaps discard their practice tablets, and head back home, their minds buzzing with fresh knowledge. The journey home was a reverse of the morning, but now with the fatigue of intense concentration. They carried not just their tools, but the weight of their learning, and the silent promise of becoming a vital part of their society. Only a small percentage of Mesopotamian children, almost exclusively boys, attended these schools. For girls, their education typically focused on household management, weaving, and other domestic skills. The skills learned in the Adaba were highly valued. Scribes were indispensable, holding positions of power and influence. They were the record keepers, the storytellers, the administrators, the backbone of Mesopotamian civilization. So while their classrooms looked vastly different from ours, the fundamental purpose was the same: to impart knowledge, discipline, and the tools to navigate a complex world. A world that, thanks to their diligent work, we can still read about today. Next, we'll uncover the surprising daily diet of a Roman legionary.